everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Heckscher at Home, the Kids Edition. So for this week's episode, we have another super fun project that I'm so excited to share with you guys, so make sure that you stay tuned and follow along with me. Just like our last two episodes, we are going to be focusing on an artist that we have featured in our Long Island Biennial, and that is Thomas Germano, and we're going to be taking a look at his painting, Long Island Expressway. When we're looking at a painting of an outdoor place, we call that a landscape. So in Thomas's painting, the Long Island Expressway, it's a place that if you're from Long Island, you might be very familiar with. Looking closer at this painting, what time of day do you think it is? We can get some hints judging by the colors that are in the sky. When we're looking at the highway signs and the trees, we notice that we can't see any details. This is because the sun is going down and the shadows block out the light, creating what we call a silhouette. Thomas uses one-point perspective to make his painting look more realistic. So in one-point perspective, that is when all the lines, and in our case that means the road, converge or come together in a single point on the horizon line. When artists paint things closer to us, they appear bigger and they look smaller when they're further away. You can see this not only in the road, but also in the clouds and the trees as well. Today, we're going to be making our very own one-point perspectives. So things we want to consider are maybe where does your road lead to, and what kind of colors do you want to use in your sunset? So before we get into it, let's go over the materials that we're going to need for today's project. Firstly, you're going to just need a white sheet of paper. Next, you're going to be using a black sheet of paper. If you do not have a black sheet of paper, no worries. You can always use a coloring material to color it in black later. Next, we are going to need a pencil, an eraser, a glue stick, scissors, a ruler, and lastly, your choice of coloring material. So for me today, I actually wanted to experiment with oil pastels, but you can obviously use whatever coloring materials you have available to you, whether that is markers, colored pencils, crayons, or whatever you would like. So now that we have all of our materials, let's get started. So step one, once we have our white sheet of paper, is we want to create our horizon line. So the horizon line is the line where the sky meets the land. So we want to decide, maybe do I want my line to be down here? Do I want it to be a little higher? Kind of depends on where you want your skyline to be. So I think I'm going to go somewhere in the middle, and I'm just going to take my ruler, trace it like that. The next step I want to do is just make a mark where I want my one-point perspective to lie, where I want the lines in my road to come together. So once I have created my little dot right here, I'm going to once again take my ruler and trace a line from the dot to the end of the page, and just do the same thing on the other side. And now I have my two road lines leading up and meeting at the horizon line at this one point. So now it's time to think about what I want to be creating. And for me and my inspiration, I want to create a place that's very familiar to me as well. And I decided to do the New York City skyline. While Thomas Germano's painting is called a landscape, since mine is going to be featuring the outline of a city, we actually call that a cityscape. When we're deciding what kind of colors to use, we need to consider what time of day it is. And since our goal here is to create a silhouette, we want to think that a silhouette is really only created during sunrise or sunset, so a time where a lot of shadows can be cast. So thinking about what sort of colors that I would want in my sunset, I think I want to choose a lot of really warm colors. So maybe some yellow and orange and red. And let's start with those and see where it takes us from there. Okay, so I am going to finish coloring up this sunset, and I want to make sure to color in my road and the sides as well. So let me finish this up and I will show you guys what it looks like in a few. Now that I have everything colored in, I'm going to start creating the silhouette that we need for our cityscape. So I'm going to use my pencil and ruler on the black paper to trace out the buildings that I'm going to need for my cityscape. And now that I have my buildings all traced out, I'm going to start cutting out my cityscape. Once it's all cut out, I am left with this, my silhouetted cityscape. Which brings us to our final step. We are going to be gluing the cityscape onto our beautiful sunset that we created. Okay, I just glued the back and I am ready to line it up on the horizon line and pat it down and make sure I have everything all lined up the way I want it. And there we have it. This is our finished product, our silhouetted sunset. So I hope that you guys had fun today and that you follow along and create this along with me. If you do, please make sure to take a picture and tag the Heckscher Museum. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video as well for more content in the future. So we will be back in February with a brand new video and a new project. So we will make sure to see you guys then. Bye!